We're about news, commentary, conversations, truth, liberty, and God. We stand for American values and our flag. We believe that the Constitution is a document that fortifies rights already given to us by our Creator. We will not apologize for our love of God and country, ever. We are Right America Media.
Welcome back to Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. As usual, we will have a great show for you today. It will be a little bit abbreviated because we have a fire conversation, great interview that we just finished in studio prior to our standard episode, and we will be pushing the clips out to you very, very soon. You're going to want to check that out, and you're going to want to check out who we just interviewed. You know, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Lots of stuff has been happening. All over the world, there's crazy stuff happening, especially within the Trump administration. We just saw, apparently we're having a conversation again about whether or not it is legal, currently is legal, to burn the American flag, and whether it should be legal. Now, if you want to say whether it should be legal, I can understand why people, land on different sides of this, right? But is it legal? I don't believe a veteran should be getting arrested for burning an American flag when right now it's, constitutionally protected free speech and has been for a very long time. As a matter of fact, the last person that ruled on that was Justice Scalia. And I believe he was right in what he said, that the ability to protest and redress grievances of your government doesn't just exist for when it's convenient or when it's nice or when it's things we want to hear or when it's things we agree with or disagree with. It's things that we even disagree with. And I can disagree with how somebody says something and what they say while respecting the fact that they have the right to say it. And then on top of that, we have trade deals, meetings with Putin, more talk about Ukraine because that hasn't subsided yet. We're having discussions about what's going to be happening with AI and, fingers going on scale. And then, of course, the Trump administration just said that we now own 10% of IBM. If I got that correct, and I'm going Republican-funded socialism? I'd feel a little bit different if you're saying that, we have pension options that are invested in IBM, like government pensions invested in IBM. That'd be one thing, But now the U.S. government owns a percentage of a U.S. company. I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't think bank bailouts or the military-industrial complex or big pharma or any of those things are good things. And I'm starting to get a little worried because Trump, who's supposed to be the anathema of all of this, is now teasing around with a lot of this stuff. What's happening? So, again, in studio with me today, I have Andy from Citizens Doge. He is a regular guest on the podcast. We're going to be getting into Doge Report coming up soon. But first, we're going to have our first guest for today. It's going to be Tim Keller. He is a health care and lifestyle analyst and founder of U.S. Diabetes Care. We are going to be talking about MAHA. But first, before we get into that, I want you to go click like and subscribe on Ram TV on all social media platforms and Citizens Doge or Citizens Doge USA if you're on X on all platforms. so that you can get the updates on everything that is happening with both Citizens Doge and Ram TV. And you better like and subscribe Blue Collar Intellectual on all platforms as well, because we keep bringing you excellent information, great guests, authors, industry leaders, experts in their fields. And we believe that you should have balanced, good news that is going to be a burgeoning force against the misinformation that is constantly out there. The people who are constantly trying to sell you fear and anger and division. And, I'm seeing it on the right just as much as I'm seeing it on the left these days. The anger, the resentment, the division, I'm seeing propagated from all sides. It's like people don't want to be unified as Americans.
Yeah, they don't understand that we're in a serious moment in the history of the world, and it requires a little bit of courage to just face things for the way they are and then try to act constructively in the face of that.
It's really sad. It's really sad. It kind of, if I didn't have as good a control of my emotions as I do now, if I was the person I used to be, I wouldn't have the ability to look at things the way I do now and see that we're not doing what Ben Franklin said, right? We're not keeping our republic. We're kind of letting it slide, hoping that, the axe is going to fall on, and the guillotine will fall on somebody else. All right, so we have the guest on the line, but we're not going to have video. We're only going to have voice people. So, but that's not going to change. That we're going to give you another fire episode and good conversation. Again, it's going to be Tim Keller, healthcare and lifestyle analyst and founder of U.S. Diabetes Care, a mission-driven health education company focused on ending the diabetes epidemic in America, not by prescribing more medications, but by teaching people how to reverse their condition through proven science-based lifestyle medicine. Yes, that is preventative care. That is changing our habits in order to get better results. Mr. Keller, do we have you on the line?
Yeah, how are you doing? Sorry about the video trouble, but technology.
It's okay. I'm glad that we're able to get you on. So, what is it that people are missing about your organization? What is it? Go in a little bit in depth into what your organization does and how big this epidemic is in the United States, and why people are getting it wrong by trying to medicate it rather than changing our lifestyle.
Yeah, so basically, U.S. Diabetes Care domicile and started 8 years ago. We started as a preventive transitional care center for diabetes. And what does that mean? That means lifestyle medicine, getting away from westernized drugs. We don't like symptomatic treating. We like to treat a patient. So our goal is to bring every diabetic in as an individual, get a baseline of testing done. So we do, vital scan, neural scan, which vital scan checks your neuropathy and your vitals and your organs and your heart and your kidney and all those things. And then we have a scan of the brain where we check your brain. We get a baseline of where somebody is with their blood work and all these tests. And then we individually bring them in a transitional preventive care maintenance side. And we go, we're going to build a lifestyle platform around you as an individual, because every diabetic, what we've learned, is metabolically different. The precursor of diabetes, which is now starting to be talked a little bit about, but people still really aren't sure, is called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance starts in the muscle, not type 1s, but type 2, type 3s. The insulin dysfunction are in the muscle walls, where we take the glucagon from the liver and bring it to the cells for energy that start out dysfunctioning, and when they start dysfunctioning, it's called insulin resistance. Why? How do they dysfunction? It dysfunctions from all the processed food, chemicals, refined fats, refined sugars, processed sugar, processed flour, hydrogenized wheat, high fructose corn syrup, and all the other chemical poisons that are in food, that are in the center aisles, processed foods that are killing us slowly. We don't even know it. You brought it up earlier. You asked about, how big of an epidemic is this? Well, the numbers are still skewed and the data is still misinformed on this. They say there's 39 million diabetics in the United States. Incorrect. Those are Medicare, Medicaid numbers. Those have nothing to do with commercial, private pay, self-pay, insured. And that, then they say there's 93 million, they flip the number, 93 million pre-diabetics. Well, I tell you, there's no such thing as pre-diabetes, because I tell people you're not pre-pregnant. Either you're diabetic or you're not. Okay, so we have a staggering amount of people with diabetes in this country. And if I were to give you a true statistic of what I think it is, I think 2.5 of all 4 Americans are diabetic. And sadly, including children and teens and adolescent teens and early adults now. They're not out of harm's way. They are all coming in with diabetes. We have a serious problem in this country, and it's all big pharma, big medical, and big ag is in bed together. Everybody's, processed food industry. There's no money in a cure. If we can dumb Americans down and keep them sick, feed them a pill, then they're going to win. They're going to make a lot of money, and they are making a lot of money off the back of diabetics with drugs that aren't fully tested and proved. Look at what's going on with this GLP-1. We've been telling people about this GLP-1 for years. We used it for diabetics for a 3-month to 6-month period to correct satiety, or the feeling of being full, or learning how to readjust their eating habits as we're adjusting their lifestyle. This is not a get fit, get skinny drug that we stay on for 2, 3, 4 years. The side effects and consequences of that are still unknown, but they're coming out. Blindness, stomach paralysis, kidney failure. I mean, what do you want? I mean, guess what? If you go stomach paralysis, you're dead. If you can't eat food and digest food and process food in your body, it doesn't matter what food you're putting in your mouth, you're not going to survive. This is some scary stuff, and we got to wake up. We got to quit dumbing down Americans. We got to get them educated, and they need to be educated by pure education, lifestyle education. We have an app on Apple Android, U.S. Diabetes Care Education. You can go to our website at usdiabetescare.com and get our app. It's $120 a year to change your life. And I'm telling you, 90% of the people that follow our program, that truly follow it, I'm not saying, half-assed it, but actually follow the program, will reverse their diabetes and their symptoms. And the ones that do 70% of it will tightly reduce the need for medications and live a healthier lifestyle. It's proven lifestyle medicine. So, that I'm very serious about this, and I'm passionate about it because we gotta get our nation health back. It's scary where it's going right now.
So what do you find is the biggest driver of diabetes, of people being reticent to fix it? Is it the change? Is it the complacency of being, stuck in your ways? Is it a lack of education? Is it, stubbornness because we, as a society, we like being able to pull up next to McFatties and grab a McFatty burger and a giant super slurp of, carbonated nastiness? Or is it the sitting on the stuff like the Super Bowl Sunday, sitting down for the big game with loads of bowls full of chips and dips and all sorts of greasy fried nastiness? What is the biggest driver? Or is it just the daily food that we intake? Is it snacks in our kids' lunches? Is it how our bread is processed, the things in our jams and jellies and stuff?
Okay, so the biggest driver, and this isn't probably going to be, it might be shocking to some people probably already know this, it's just hard to get away from. We have found that processed sugar is more addicting than cocaine. That's a scientific fact. It's proof.
Yep.
They've done it with, human experiments. So if you take all the refined foods and processed foods that are out there and the Slurpees and everything that you have, they all have refined sugar in it. And guess what? We're all addicted to refined sugars. The chips and everything break down into our body as a refined sugar, a carb. Everything's refined, and the refined fats that go along with it, the canola oils that it's made in, the hydrogenized wheat, the high fructose corn syrup, all those things break down as a refined sugar in the body. So guess what? We're highly addicted to processed junk food. And then now you take, if we're telling you it's more addictive than cocaine, right? And we're saying, hey, this is more addictive than cocaine, then you're ingesting this kind of things in your body every day. Well, if it's more addictive than cocaine, how addicted do you think that these mindsets are to their diet and wanting to change? It's very difficult. And so there has to be awakening, and how we awaken our patients to it is like we do it called a trade-off. Okay, you can choose to go down this lifestyle, but what do you want to die from? And we get real bold. You want to die from amputations? You want to die from blindness, heart attack, stroke? What's your choice of death? Because one of them's coming. If you don't get your diabetes under control, you are going to die from something. And and when we put it in that perspective, but also too, I mean, we're just not body Nazis and Gestapos. I mean, we do it in a loving way because we build a trusting relationship with people. And hey, let's start making some lifestyle changes that aren't going to be easy at first, but once you get going, you're going to feel better. And and we start out easy. Let's go for a little walk. Let's drink more water. Water's not Mountain Dew and sweet tea, by the way. Let's eat more fiber, eat more fruits and vegetables. Oh, well, my doctor said I can't eat fruit because there's fructose in it or sugar in it. And like, well, that's the most ridiculous thing because fructose actually breaks down different in the body, and over time, your sugars will balance out from eating more fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
So, once again, let's quit dumbing down Americans and really get fact education and knowledge. And you know what? We're not going to change everybody, but if you give people education of what kind of changes they can make, you'd be surprised how many people actually want to make some changes. But if they don't know, are not educated of what changes to make, and when they go and see a doctor, this is the problem. Westernized medicine. You go see a doctor for 2 hours. You wait in the waiting room for 2 hours. Do you see the doctor for 2 hours? No, you might get 5 minutes with that doctor, and you're supposed to change your perspective on your health in 5 minutes. No one can do that, but that's the Westernized system of medicine that we're now all a victim of.
I can honestly say, I can say firsthand, I have changed. I went on a path, a health kick a couple years back. I got up to, I think the heaviest I've ever weighed was 265. My regulation weight in the Marine Corps, my max weight was 204. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm about 220 right now. I just lost 25 pounds. Back then when I was at 265, my everything on my body hurt. My blood pressure was through the roof. My cholesterol was horrible. I couldn't sleep. I was lethargic. I couldn't sleep a full night's sleep, but I also didn't have the energy to do jack shit, despite working 12 to 18 hour shifts on a daily basis and running on about 4 hours sleep every night. I got to the point where I went on a intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet, started working out on a regular basis. And even though I'm no longer on a ketogenic diet, I still practice basic intermittent fasting, and I eat, while larger portions than I would on keto, I still eat meat, vegetables, fruit, got rid of most of the processed stuff in our house. Obviously, we buy healthier snacks for our kids. We drink primarily water. I don't drink anything in my coffee anymore. I'm drinking probably a gallon of water a day, and I've noticed a massive difference in the way I feel, the way my body responds, how much energy I have. My blood pressure is actually very low. I almost look like an athlete again. It's the changes I've found, the lifestyle changes. The VA wanted to put me on medications, but the lifestyle changes, and I've always been against medications because they have horrible side effects in a lot of cases. The lifestyle changes have really, really had a massive impact on my ability to live my life and enjoy my life. And I think the average person, if they make the lifestyle changes, will find that they have a better life on the other side of it.
No, 100%. And like I said, nothing is, what's the old saying? Nothing worth doing is easy. I'm not promoting that our lifestyle platform is going to be easy at first, but I'm going to tell you, if you adopt it in your life, what you just experienced and said, you're going to feel like a different person. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have, and we call it Love, Hope, Family, right? So you look at USI Youth Care, our mission's Love, Hope, Family. You give people more love, which is giving better care, more preventive care, transitional care. You end up giving them, more hope for a better day, which in turn gives them more healthy time with their family. I mean, these are things that Americans should be looking forward to. Right now, what we're looking forward to is a sentence of an early death from diabetes that could be prevented. And then guess what? Before the early death, the last 10, 15 years of life, we're sitting around miserable because you have no energy. You're a couch potato. You can barely get into and from the bathroom. You can't go out, walk to the mailbox. I mean, so that neuropathy and all that stuff happens, and the pain and all that and inflammation. I mean, who wants to live with that kind of pain for the last 10, 15 years before the death certificate comes because you didn't make lifestyle choices when you had the ability to?
I think a lot of this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think a lot of this comes from, I've been a long critic of the body positivity movement and this YOLO, you only live once sort of mindset of solely focusing on self-actualization, which is really just, making excuses for doing whatever you want at any given moment. And the lack of personal responsibility and accountability for our actions and how we eat and how we take care of ourselves. We've gotten to this seeming spiral where you're not allowed to critique obviously bad health choices in anybody for any reason whatsoever. And we're not even allowed to humor the idea that sitting down and eating a bag of Fritos does not count as a viable portion of the food pyramid. And it seems like we're in this spiral where even medical science is reticent to call it out. And I've found that the largest funders of most of the medical schools are the pharmaceutical companies who stand to gain the biggest profit from, pushing out medicines to deal with poor diet and exercise. And we've got a healthcare system that prioritizes Band-Aids rather than core solutions.
Well, 100%. I mean, this all started happening back in the 1960s and 70s where Big Pharma came in and asked Big Medical, what's your biggest spend? They said, our residence program. We're training a bunch of doctors up that we can't bill under their arrangement. We're losing money on them. And Big Pharma said, hey, no problem. Let us take over these programs, which are mostly primary internist programs. And what did they do with those doctors? They taught doctors how to be symptomatic treaters of patients, which means write a script. It's not rocket science. So now you got a bunch of doctors. Not saying they're not smart, but, you and I can go in the doctor right now today and let's just make up a bunch of crap. Let's make up a bunch of crap. We'll walk out there with 9 medications.
Yep.
And was there really any symptomatic, really diagnostic treating going on? No, it was all symptomatic. Oh, you got that going on? Oh, you're depressed? Oh, you walk out with all these medications and it's like, where's the diagnosis here? Where's the workup? Did you look at my blood work? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, there's other factors. It's a sad way of society, and this whole, movement of do what I want when I want. Who cares? You only got one life to live. I mean, that's the craziest thing. Because guess what? They won't like to be around me because, I'm a motivator, and I don't want to hear all that crap. Even when my friends try to, pull that with me. Hey, in moderation, a Super Bowl, have some chips. Go to a birthday party, eat some cake. I'm not promoting someone not to do that. What I'm saying is that for the majority part, treat your body like God intended to. It says in the Bible, treat your body like it's your temple. It doesn't mean to fill your body with a bunch of poisons and junk food and bad foods. And then when all the dominoes fall, which means poor health, and now guess what? Where you could be out enjoying maybe a nice vacation, guess what? You're spending all your money on medication.
I think another big misnomer in this whole movement is you hear a lot from the baby boomers in Gen X that, when I was a kid, I drank Gatorade and I ate all these snacks and, I ate all this stuff. And I'm sitting here going, all right, let's take a look at some of the stuff that was in these snacks when you were a kid. All right. The corn chips were actually made of corn. Like legitimate corn. They had 3, 4, maybe 5 ingredients. Gatorade was water, lemon, lime, and it was distilled water, lemon, and lime. And that was pretty much it. Nowadays, it's high fructose corn syrup. Corn is in quite literally every product we consume. And it's not good corn syrup. It's corn starch.
No.
Like it's in, processed sugars, which, like you said, is tantamount to snorting a line of cocaine. I don't want my kids to be Tony Montana mainlining a whole bunch of Swedish fish on my dining room table because we never stop to second guess the things that we're doing right now. Like I've often been a critic of. I'm sitting here in studio right now drinking a black coffee, a black cold brew coffee, not a damn thing in it. That is my outside of water. That is what I drink. That and green tea.
Yeah, and those are great things. And that's what I'm saying. People, oh, well, I can't, oh man, I got to have my pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you want to have a pop if I did an experiment with you? And they go, what's that? I go, let's go get an old pan that you don't care about. Let's put a can of Coke or pop or whatever you're drinking in there, and let's boil it down to everything dehydrates and see what's left. It's tar.
It's
like
nasty.
a black tar substance. Yeah, and I'm like, in your drink, that's what you're putting in your body. Now let's do another experiment you want to do. Let's throw an Old Penny in there. We got a bunch of experiments we can do with this soda and show people. People clean their Blackstones with Red Bull and soda. So, I'm like, hey, if it's cleaning that Blackstone to a shiny new, I mean, what's that doing to your body?
Oh, I used to say the same thing when I was active duty. When everybody would, we always joke that Marines run on nicotine and caffeine. We all get done PT. And then we walk into the PX and we grab an energy drink. And I'm like, yay, we're all drinking battery acid. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you for coming on. Where can people find you and support your work, sir?
Yeah, so you can go on to the Apple and Android app store and put in U.S. Diabetes Care /education. Again, U.S. Diabetes Care /education. Our app will come up. You can get it. You can download the app from there. Or you can go to usdiabetescare.com. Again, usdiabetescare.com. And there's a Learn More tab on there. Matter of fact, I encourage you to read the website. The Learn More tab will tell you everything that we have in the education app and what it offers. Take this next step in your health, people, and do it for yourself. If you don't get my app, get some form of lifestyle education and let's kick this diabetes in the butt. I mean, it's going to become the first $1 trillion disease if we don't do something about it.
All right, sir. Thank you for coming on the show. I am absolutely sure we're definitely going to have to bring you back in the near future because I don't expect this is going anywhere. And I'm sure RFK Jr. is going to keep making waves as head of HHS and, changing what's in our food. Again, this is Ram TV Live. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. We'll be with you right after the break for the Citizens Doge Report. Hey, it works, people. 25 pounds down. Let's get it. United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Aciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Aciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.
Would you rather spend time with family and friends in the pool or at the barbecue rather than landscaping your yard? Well, Augusta Lawn Care is here to help you with all of your landscaping needs. Proudly serving southern New Hampshire, we handle everything. Weekly mowing, spring and fall cleanups, bush trimming, mulch installs, lawn treatments, aeration, dethatching, and even snow plowing and salting when the dreaded winter hits. Call Augusta Lawn Care today and let your yard be the best looking yard on the block. Call 603-331-4768. Augusta Lawn Care, locally owned, professionally done. Call 603-331-4678 or visit us online at AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry. That's AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry.
Hey, and we're back on Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. Make sure you go to Ram TV Live, like, subscribe, share. We have Andy from Citizens Doge. Make sure you follow Citizens Doge on all platforms and Citizens Doge USA on X, because you want to get the updates on how you can be effective in your local community and make a difference. Because guess what, people? All politics is local. It's not changing. We still have a federalist system. You can get up off your ass and save your local community. And if every single one of us does it, well, guess what? All of a sudden, we have saved America. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
You know, it's been a long couple weeks, right?
I just want to give you credit before I go through the report. I just want to give you credit for coining Tony Montana mainlining.
Hey,
That needs to be a bumper sticker tomorrow. Kids,
Tony Montana mainlining Swedish fish.
kids don't mainline anything that tastes good unless it's Pepperidge Farm Goldfish, in which case it's okay. That's my advice.
Okay.
To get the report stuff, this week's report, as always, is sponsored by the Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast, as well as Loveland Realty, 7K Metals, and Red Tide Strategies. To just quickly go through the events recap that we've been of the events we've been going to recently. Of course, we had last week off, but on Friday the 22nd, Mike and I joined a couple of groups that were organized by our friends at Turning Point Action, the New Hampshire chapter, to protest the New Hampshire visit of Arizona U.S. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego, who, unbeknownst to me until this protest was organized, actually made some comments on X a few years ago about how New Hampshire should lose the First in the Nation primary. Of course, that made a lot of people very unhappy. If you look closely at this image to the right here, you can see me in the shades and scally cap on the left. Ruben and his staff are not very happy to see us, but of course, that's the nature of democracy, at least in the truest sense. People still do have, at least for the time being, the right to protest their government when their government does things and says things they don't like. So,
Well, you know what? If you don't want to get protested coming to New Hampshire, then probably don't shit on our First in the Nation.
Yep.
Up here, that is like the Super Bowl. Politics is the Super Bowl during the First in the Nation here in New Hampshire. Like, I remember friggin' during the 24 election, Manchester was like a no-go zone for traffic. Like, I was back and forth between being on air with David Webb from SiriusXM Patriot over at Red Arrow Diner, and Rudy Giuliani and Laura Trump and Eric Trump and Trump Jr. and the whole slew of every congressman and senator that was up here to support the First Nation, and back and forth to Media Row over at the Doubletree. And it was a lot. It was a lot. It was almost, it kind of reminded me of CPAC. But yeah, don't come up here to New Hampshire thinking you can talk shit and we're gonna be happy about you being here. I mean,
and
Democrats love you, but
and as testament to that, we also attended an event that Gallego appeared at Nashua Community College on Friday evening, where he was actually hosted by esteemed and favorite of the Doge Report and Citizens Doge, CD2 Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander. They appeared on stage together. The video that you're going to see in just a moment was shot by Michael McElhaney, and it has apparently been making some rounds.
And I'm just grateful.
Just me with my eyes closed.
Colleagues here to get to see how awesome my boss is. So thank you, Ruben, for being here, and thank you all.
Well, thank you, and
Ruben has a checkered personal past. I'll just kind of leave it there. The I don't know if we're going to get to the second video here. This was shot by Davis Miller, who's a friend of ours, who's the field rep for Turning Point Action in New Hampshire. He was approaching the stage looking to ask a rather pointed question about Gallego's complicated personal history. He presents himself as a paragon of virtue because he is apparently a very decorated Marine veteran.
Yes.
Who is considered a rising star in the Democratic Party. I have to say, and you won't hear me give many compliments to Maggie Goodlander on this program or in any other venue, Maggie outshined him at this debate. I was not impressed by Gallego at all. He was all talking points. He was no substance. He was all over the place. He seemed like he was just searching to please the crowd and just putting on an act. He really didn't
We were
didn't
just
strike right for me at all.
the interview that we had when you came in studio. We were just talking to the guest about literally the talking points and how politicians refuse to be. They don't act like normal people. And if you want people to support you and you want people to vote for you, you need to be a normal person. They need to look at you and not see a machine. And I think one of the worst things you could do is stand up in front of any crowd. As you could see from that applause that he didn't get, the 5 people that probably clapped, they gave him the golf clap. I'm sitting here going, so you flew across the country. And you're speaking at a university, and you're trying to, at a university, I'm assuming you'd be trying to talk to young people, get them activated, inspire them, right? And all you can give them is talking points. Nothing but straight vanilla ice cream. And hey, I love my ice cream, but vanilla is not my favorite flavor. Why? I don't see it as productive in any way, shape, or form. I don't care whether you're on the right or on the left. If all you are is talking points, you need to stay away from politics. You have nothing to offer of any tangible value to anybody. There should be something about you beyond your ability to regurgitate party line propaganda. Like, tell me what, even disagree with me. Tell me I'm wrong, but have a perspective that's different, right? Come from somewhere that's different. Like, look at it through a different angle or a different lens, or look at it through your life experience. Marine or not, Semper Fi, brother, for, serving your country, because that makes us family regardless of whether I like you, whether I vote for you or agree with you in politics. But by all means, please have something more to offer than just being a talking point machine. I criticize people on the right for the exact same thing. As a matter of fact, right now, I'm about to criticize Turning Point for why the hell do you have Phoenix is the home of Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. Why do you have a Democratic senator? Like, why? And if you're telling me, and I want to know who is out there that's not getting people activated. I got a buddy who lives out in Arizona. He's running for Congress right now. I'm about to call him after this. I'm about to find out why the hell they have a Democratic senator.
Oh, there he is. Ruben, why don't you pay your child support? Hey, Davis.
Did I hear that right? He doesn't pay his child support?
He apparently was living an adventurous life outside of his home when his wife was expecting their first child. And again, he paints himself as a paragon of all things good. And of course, everybody's complicated, and we don't want to go too far with just, you pick on one person, you pick on everybody else. But he is very sanctimonious and very performative about his sanctimoniousness. And this is, frankly, the sad thing is this is no longer uncommon among Democrat politicians.
No.
Because how they got to where they are is often their credentialing, their connections, they're fitting in with the right people, and their air of moral superiority.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, that foundation has to crack, because if you look behind their facade, there's usually something there that can be chipped away at, and it proves that their facade is just that.
I've often said that when you paint yourself as a white knight, all your opponent has to do is show a chink in your armor, and all of a sudden you're everything you stand for is full of shit. So this goes towards this applies to everybody in politics, not just the left. It applies to everybody. If you paint yourself as the uber evangelical who is holier than thou, and then it turns out you're having an affair on your wife, it turns out you have an entirely separate family, you got bastard kids, or you're mainlining coke off your desk in the Capitol, or you go out and you're getting drunk. Now, me, on the other hand, I am an incredibly flawed individual. I make no bones about it. Yes, I'm on a path of growth. I've gotten in touch with my faith. I'm dieting, exercising, and I am changing my lifestyle drastically to get back to the man that I used to be. However, I will not lie and say that I am not incredibly flawed and haven't made major mistakes in my lifetime. And I'm only 38 so far, so I'm sure I got plenty of mistakes to go.
I got a couple of years on you.
Oh, there he is. Ruben, why don't you pay your child support? Hey, Davis.
I guess it's the same one again.
See, that's the issue, though. Look, there's There's a lot of people who have extramarital affairs, men and women. I don't begrudge people what they do in the bedroom. But paying your child support as a man, it speaks more to your character. As a man, you're supposed to protect, provide, stuff like that. When you're not taking care of your kids, you're not paying your child support. That's a big issue. I wouldn't trust that person to represent me. Like the cheating, whatever. In most cases, when it comes to, personal bedroom stuff, I don't care because I'm not voting for that. But when it comes to that in particular, the not paying your child support type shit, that's the type of shit that would be like, why?
Yeah.
Especially if you have the money to pay for it. You have the money to pay your child support. Why? Why? That would make me question your character. But how else, other than that, how else was the event? Was it lackluster altogether, or
I'll say
were there
that
high points?
I'll say that I've gotten past the point where I'm surprised when I walk into a room like that and feel like it's an alternate reality. For me, I can't speak for anybody else who was there, Mike or Davis Miller or any of the other folks who were there, who were with our group, I should say, because we stood out like a sore thumb as we were told, and of course we knew we did from the moment we walked in the room. The divergence in the reality between the two sides is growing. You could feel it in the room. You could feel it in the way people looked at us when we made a couple of sarcastic comments under our breath that made it clear that we didn't agree with what was being said. And of course, for those who have tuned into this podcast and have seen me at this microphone before, I smirk a lot, especially when people are saying things I think are patently ridiculous, and that gave it away too. I'll be the first to admit I was smirking the whole time. I smirked at everything Maggie said. I smirked at everything Ruben said.
What always baffles me is the divergence from reality, the hyper focus on things that the vast majority of people don't care about, and the painting the things that people do care about is unimportant. And then to try and reinvent the current atmosphere of the country as something patently different than what it is. And of course, the only way you can get away with doing so is if you're doing it to a small niche group full of people who are so ideologically opposed to either the person in power or the party in power that they'll latch on to anything that confirms their biases.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't like that on either side of the aisle. I hated it at CPAC in 2022 when I went to CPAC and Keith was there and Juan was there and we had a long conversation about it over some cigars. I hated it then when the only two people, they got on stage and said, we screwed up. There are things that we need to work on. It was Dan Bongino and Glenn Beck. The only two. Out of 50 some odd speakers, everybody was cheerleading, rah, rah, rah. Here's a think tank paper. Here's a panel. Here's some stuff. The left is bad. The left is bad. The left is bad. They do this and they do that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell have you done to fix anything? You identify the problem all damn day, but you don't propose the solution. Why would I vote for you? Best case scenario, you convince me not to vote for the other guy, but you don't convince me to vote for you.
Right.
Why? Who the hell wants to go to the polls to... People want to vote for something. They want to believe in something. They want to see somebody with a forward-thinking vision that makes them want to get out of bed in the morning and go, you know what? The best days are in front of us, not behind us.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a place where all you hear is how negative everything is, why would you want? What hope do you have? Maybe that's what's driving the mental health crisis on the left. We're seeing the record-breaking SSRIs, depression, anxiety, this concept. What was it? 30%, and I think it might be 36% of Democrats believe that America is a good place or have any level of positive patriotism. That is horrible.
And the dichotomy that doesn't make sense is, and it was true in this room on last Friday as well, where Maggie, Ruben, a number of people who were engaged in the Q&A professed how much they love the country, and then proceeded to
shit all over the country,
to eviscerate everybody who might have the temerity to disagree with them. It's like you can't have both of those things be true at the same time and claim to actually love the country as much as you profess you do.
Yes, and this is where I constantly am reminding people on both sides of the aisle. My grievances are with the government and how it operates. My grievances are not with Americans, other than your apathy and your laziness and refusing to get involved locally. And to
Join
show up and
Citizens
vote.
Doge. You can visit us at citizensdoge.com. We're on all the major social media platforms.
Yeah, my disdain is if you're not getting active locally, then I have an issue with you. But
And to just quickly recap the two events from other events from last week, we had a table at Cheshire County GOP Barbecue in Ringe on Saturday the 23rd. Thanks to Ann Farrington and Claudia Stewart for hosting us, and to Bronwyn Sims of Walkaway, New Hampshire for sharing her table with us. You can see that's her with Scott Brown right there. I took that picture. And very last but not least, Mike and I spoke at the Rockingham County GOP meeting in Brentwood last night. We want to extend our thanks to Chairman Ravi and the entire Rockingham GOP Leadership Committee for hosting and having us.
all right. Well, that gives you the Doge report for this week. There will be definitely more to come. There will be more people getting activated. I have faith that in New Hampshire, we will get activated in order to save this republic, and that this will not be, we're not going to let everything slide into despotism. And I am going to extend once again to all CD1 and Senate candidates. You can come on the show. You can make your case. I will be 100% fair. I don't ask gotcha questions. We're going to have a conversation. I want you to make your case to voters. I want you to be able to say what you want to say, to get out your message, and for people to have the ability to choose for themselves and be informed as to what each candidate stands for. That goes for the people that even I might not personally support. I want you to be heard, and I'll be fair. All right? So that is it for this week's episode of Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. Again, brought to you by Ram TV Live. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and you know what? If you don't like it, then keep it to yourself. Or you know what? Call into the show and we'll fight with you. We can have a reasonable a reasonable discussion, right? We don't have to hate each other. All right. But tune in next week. We'll have another fire episode. We're going to have great guests. And, I just can't wait. I look forward to this every week. God bless everybody.
Written by Marine Corps veteran Julian Eschyard, this book examines the deepening fractures in our nation, political division, government overreach, and a fading sense of shared responsibility, and offers a battle-tested path forward. A Marine's Fight is a bold and urgent call to action for every American who believes in the founding ideals of our republic. United we stand. A Marine's Fight can be purchased on Amazon.